Most of my success just it's just rinse and repeat with your fundamentals, man. It's not really complicated. It's just rinse and repeat. So
Brother, I appreciate you, man. How's life, man?
life's been good.
Yes,
Life's
sir.
been
I can
good, boss
see
man.
that, bro. Looking for $1 million house. That's dope, dude.
1.4. 1.4. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Where you looking at?
we're looking in Brea.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
dude.
Brea, Yorba Linden area. you know but no, I appreciate you reaching out. Like I said, most of my success just it's just rinse and repeat with your fundamentals, man. It's not really complicated. It's just rinse and repeat. So just going from kind of in the very beginning, so I was in MLO for about 3 years, gave that a try. I found you, of course. It was refi boom, right? We saw sales remastered everywhere. Everyone to be like Daniel, speak like Daniel. So I was a part of the group, but then there was like kind of a post where you're kind of doing your own thing. I was like, look, I don't care what I need to do. I don't know who I need to meet or pay, but I need to work for this guy for sure. Just because law of attraction, right? It's kind of like if you run with the wolves, you become a wolf, right? Now it's just a little puppy, right? I'm at 3 years doing this, go against vets for doing 20, so it really cuts out the guesswork, right? So I was able to come down to your place at the time at that company, and so we met, and I was like, yeah, you can feel the energy with this guy for sure. And so we worked together for about 2 to 3 months, right? And so it was great. It's just unfortunately I had some medical issues at that time, so I had to put things on pause, right? But I was still kind of still nurturing the personality, right? My brand, right? It's like you can never stop, investing into your brand. So even though I was sick, I was still spending like maybe 2 3 hours on just really evaluating and getting better and better. Now, what I can say up to date, so right now, when we first met, man, I was barely paying my bills. I was paying, like, man, like just, I was living off of loans, right? It was funny because it was like MLO, right? I offered loans, but I was living off of them, right? And so I was kind of winging it, but my value, I knew I was trying to invest in, right? So I knew I had to just take a motivated longevity swing, right? Even though I'm not hitting right now, I knew it's going to hit later on. And so I went from that to month to date. I'm making about 30, 45 every month. And the thing is, I don't really evaluate the the month. I evaluate the year, right? Because consistency is key for longevity, right? And so a lot of guys, you meet these guys that are very headstrong, but later on it's just they can't commit to their own numbers, right? And so what I can say, so going from sales remastered, because it's not MLO remastered, it's sales remastered, right? So I still implement the key factors that we do with sales remastered versus anything else. So when I paid about 50 grand plus to do these seminars, have a mentor, to do one-on-one with these sales coaches they see all over the Instagram, these, clickbaits and so forth. So I was like, you know what, I'll buy, just see, evaluate if it's worth the value of the time. And so you fill out a survey, what motivates you, what do you do for a living, what inspires you, and one thing, and I know it sounds very unorthodox, but one thing I've learned with Sales Remastered, I don't believe in goals. I believe in standards, right? So let me speak on that a little bit. Is that when you have a goal, right? For example, my goal is to do 50 outbound dials at 30 units. But if you have no track record, right, then it's just you're not really having the fundamentals yet. So what Sales Remasters does is that we create a foundation of habit, right? So instead of shooting for a goal, set a standard. Like, okay, look, instead of shooting for 50, starting this month, I'll shoot for 30 and try to shoot for 5 units and be consistent at least 3 months and build on that. Because then you have data, then you have value, right? And so I wasn't making 30 or 40 grand, right? I was actually happy with making 5 grand because on the fundamentals I built, I knew what I was doing, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you can find with Sales Remastered versus any other program is really the know-how, not the motivation. I mean, for me, and it's a weird saying for me, is that optimism creates delusion, right?
Right.
And you have a very, I mean, I'm going to do little, shout out. There's one video that you have is that you got to get rid of the sexiness of sales. That shit, it gets really old, really fucking quick, really quick. The money, the car, all that. Look, I get it. That might be your drawing point, but it's not gonna last long, right? And so there's a clip that you have, and I actually watch it every day, every single day before I log in, before I do my thing. Is that, yeah, people don't want to do the sexiness of sales or unsexy part of sales. They want to, man, I made 20 grand this month. Man, it's like, look, I'm proud that for the past 6 months, I did over 1,000 outbound dials. I
Yeah.
sent over 4,000 emails. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but how much money do you make? Then you kind of know what the discussion, like, no, you don't get it yet.
Yup.
You don't get it. The money is important, but it comes along with everything else.
It's the
It's kind of,
byproduct. Yeah.
exactly, it's a
Yep.
byproduct, and so people don't really understand that. So I think for me, with Sales Remastered, is that if you can cut out the distractions, if you can cut out the interest rates, if you can cut out all the what they say, and just really know your value in your own brand and build on your own track record, that's what for me Sales Master does, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully that helped a little bit. The thing for me is that people think you have time. You don't got time. If you're over 20, you're behind the eight ball. You know, it's a lot of these guys are like, oh, you know what? I'll hit 5 next month. You know what I mean? Look, you got to cut out the guesswork, right? And so for me, I believe that if you're trying to build your brand, you can't really do it on a generic format with a group because it's not individualized, and that's your brand, right? When someone's calling in for your product, you got to be like, look, everyone can sell my product, but not the way I do it. But
Right.
if you can identify your own brand, then you can't sell your byproduct. And that's what Sales Masters do. It evaluates your brand and how to build on that and how to structure that and have more brand awareness with that. So for me, that's the biggest difference with Sales Masters, is that you have to evolve. And look at, with investing, a lot of guys, it's weird, right? Once they meet with the King D, right? They meet with the King D for like, maybe a few weeks, right? Maybe a month or maybe 2 months, and now it's like, man, I'm making 5 or 10. Well, if your brand was 30 or 40, why are you stopping the mentorship?
Hell
So
yeah.
with me, it's like Sales Master is great to build a brand, but it teaches humility. It teaches you, like, look, there's a bigger ocean than this pond. And if you
Mhm.
want to touch on that ocean, because I mean, Daniel, you have like 20 years of a know-how. Not just, I get it, mortgage, but the fundamentals on how to really build your brand as
Right.
an individual. Because let's face it, with this economy, with this, there's a lot of negatives. You had to identify yourself. So when you're on the phone with the clients, like, look, maybe this interest rate is the same, maybe this product is the same, but I'm not, right? I'm a little bit more individual. So yeah.
Not many people even have ever seen that much cash in person. And I fucking dig that, dude. And I hit you back with the post. It's like, bro, we move alike, man. So many
Yeah.
different ways. But to kind of talk about that is just having the freedom, where you're at right now versus where you were, because I didn't know you're at that spot. When we met, like, you're surviving off kind of loans and could barely get by. And to see where you're at right now, I mean, it's damn near a year, so cheers to that.
You said to be authentic and raw. So I'm from Long Beach, right? So a lot of people don't know this. I was actually leaving my car when I was working for you.
What?
Like, I don't know if you saw my car in the parking lot that didn't move, but yeah, I was actually in Irvine because I couldn't afford the gas to go back home,
Damn, bro.
right?
Damn.
Here's the thing is that, perception, hindsight's 2020, right? So when I started making the money, I valued every dollar, right? And I valued myself before the money. So I got really smart. So what I did is that if I made five, I put two away, right? So at least I put at least 25% of what I make to investing into myself. Because how I see it is that if I'm not putting away the 25% investing myself with mentorship, then I lose the other 75% of growth.
So fast forward to now, what does that mean? What does that look like now?
So a lot of guys chase money. I'm running away from being where I came from. Like, I'm never going to go back to that, right? And so
That's
that's why
deep,
I
bro.
I really construct how I live on humility, right? Because man, it could be taken real quick, and so I make sure that I'm evolving with what I do. I'm always going to be the best, right? My attitude, how I construct myself. But what I think what's important is the environment, right?
Right.
You got to put yourself around people that are better than you,
Yep.
right? you have to. It's a key thing, because you might get content, and you need someone like, of course, like yourself in SalesRemastered, like, no, like, you're not even touching your full growth of your brand yet.
Right.
Right. And so, I mean, the financial living, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm able to put away like $250,000 cash flow, just sitting, right? But the funny thing is that most people be like, okay, what am I gonna buy? What am I do? Okay, so how I think is that, as if it doesn't sit in the bank for at least a year, it's not yours. But I didn't know that before I met you, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fundamentals. I mean, I think the biggest thing where I can talk about SalesRemastered, living the life I live in the other program, is that, I know it sounds weird, but making 25 and 40 in a financial market is easy. But what SalesRemastered is going to do for you, it's going to show you how to retain it.
Yeah, and put it to work, right?
Put it to work, right?
Yeah, it's not just buying the fucking fancy watch or the nice car. Of course, you could do that, but when I think you're at a level that is going to separate you from everyone else, because you understand that the sales aspect of it is just the bridge to open up the doors to create generational wealth. You know what I mean? So that your kids never find themselves living in their car, right? You never ever have to like be worried about paying bills, because you have multiple streams of income. It's cool to have that cash, and a lot of people, once they get it, they spend it. But you're doing bigger things, and you're looking at properties that people can't even consider right now, because it's a bad time in the market. And that's really what I really respect and honor, is the fact that people are making moves right now because they are choosing to make moves. They're not saying, oh, it's because of this or it's because of the market that I can't make moves. But you are living proof, bro. And I think that's not only something to really take note on, but like keep riding that momentum. And thank you very much for giving me some shout out and feedback and create credit. But at the end of the day, I'm always let you know that it's you, because you're the one that executed on that. You know what I mean? You're the one that made those decisions. And like you, I'm from Long Beach too. I've been living in the cars. I've been homeless. I literally spent Christmas like in a apartment complex laundry room, because I had nowhere to live. You know what I mean? And we've been there. Because we've been there, we have that humility, and we understand the fear of getting back to that place. Sure. And some people don't necessarily have that fear. They don't look at their day-to-day as fuck that, there's no plan B. Right, this is it, bro. Like, I gotta make this bitch work. And when you get to that point, then it's not looking at things like frugal, like saying, okay, well, I don't want to pay $5,000 or $10,000 to get into a program and teach myself, because what if it doesn't work, or what if I don't get any return? And that's unfortunate, because that same person will spend $5,000 to $10,000 on a week in Vegas, where they're damn for sure not going to get anything back in return, right? Or $10,000 on a down payment for a nice car, but that shit loses value. So it's cool to know that people do take the information, because when I had the office, I literally sat down and I gave people my undivided attention and taught them how to properly move. And and not many people really kind of took it for what it's worth. They only took it at the context of, how can I make money today or this month? They didn't look at it as like, okay, how the fuck can I take that to create money ongoing and multiply that bitch over and over and over? You see what I'm saying? And I think sometimes the truth is that you have to kind of go through that low point, or face kind of that humility in order to push yourself. But if you have the right guidance, you have the right mentor, you have the right support, regardless of what industry you work in, you're going to be able to kind of fuse it into whatever you do. Right? Because it's the fundamentals. It's really kind of just the basis. And then when you get that bitch popping and that shit starts humming, then you have the freedom of saying, man, I got this much sitting here, this much there. Now I could buy this, and you make the moves right. I could invest in myself. I could put 25% towards my own education. But a lot of people don't have that opportunity, because they don't put themselves in that opportunity. You know what I mean? And we made the decision to move right so that we could afford that opportunity. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you probably agree, I'm baffled, you know, all the time looking at people like, man, do you understand the opportunity you have right now? Right? Just the fact that you're licensed, you're not in a fucking third world country. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like, you live
Yeah.
in California, you don't live in the area where you're limited and you're confined. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have
Yeah.
a lot of freedom, but it's all by choice. And I'm so fucking happy for you, bro, because you're making the right choices that is going to excel your life and the people around you. Your family's blessed to have you. Your kids are fucking, you know what I mean, blessed to have you as an example, bro. And I'm honored to even be friends with you, man, and work, you know, had a chance to work with you.
You're more than a friend, you're my mentor, bro. Real shit. And I'll just plug something in real quick, is that
Yeah.
I think, to touch on what you're saying, boss, is that you can start it, but I notice that the reason why people are not making money in this market is that they can't commit and trust the fucking process.
Right.
They get a little startled, they get a little scared, it's a little hard. People don't want to be grunts. They don't want to get their hands. It's weird.
Yeah.
SalesRemastered, I mean, look it. I know I'm plugging a little bit because I really believe, because I am the proof for me, right?
Yeah.
Is that if you're gonna do it at least for 6 months, not 6 fucking hours.
Facts, bro. Facts.
People
like,
don't understand
you gotta
that
dive
concept.
in.
It's
Bro.
like, when I was doing SalesRemastered, right? You do know that all these other people that were mentors, all these influencers, I knew a lot of, you know, well-to-do people. I didn't listen to shit. I didn't listen to nothing, because it's a distraction. Don't hire to something to do halfway. Do it 100%, or don't do it at all, right?
Yep.
And so like I said, bro, it's like, if you could just commit for like 6 months, even if you're making not even 20 but 15 or 10, it's a lot more better than where you started. It's not really rocket science. Sales is really easy if, like I said, if you cut out the sexiness, if you do what the fundamentals are and you built off of that. So no, man, I mean, I could talk on and on about SalesRemastered for me. So
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. You know, and just even taking the time just to kind of share your thoughts. And again, I'm watching you from afar, bro. I'm rooting you on. I'm excited because I love seeing people win, especially those that earn it. You know what I mean? And you don't, and I know for sure you don't take it for granted, right? Like, you appreciate the opportunity, and that's something that's a very rare characteristic, man. Not many people really kind of have the humbleness to not expect things, but actually understand that you gotta fucking get it and earn it and maintain it, and that's exactly what you're doing, brother. So if I had anything to do with any of that success, bro, I'm happy to be part of that journey, and more power to you, brother. I fundamentally do appreciate you taking the time to do this, man.
Yeah, no worries. And before we end off, is it okay if I give you a golden nugget?
Hell cool? Yeah, let's do it.
Just to show you that when you were training me, because I used to, hey, yo, D, do you mind if I bother you real quick? You know, I mean, so I'll give you a little golden nugget to what I learned from SalesRemastered, is that don't be educational, being conversational.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So the educational is that you're talking 80%, but you're only listening 20. Right. I don't know if you remember that seminar you did, but it stuck. And then be conversational, where you're listening 80%, but you're talking 20.
Right. Right.
If you're selling mortgage, you're selling refinance, maybe you're selling the rate, but not the pain.
Right. Right.
We can go a whole nother thing with that. You already know, but just let you know, I pay attention, because it's not only pay attention, like, I live and breathe and rinse and repeat what you taught me. It's not hard. You just got to keep committing to the rinse and repeat. You know, obviously it definitely shows, man, that you just executed, bro. And man, you inspired the fuck out of me, bro. You know, keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully we get to link up soon, man. You know, I'll buy you a drink, buy you some lunch. I appreciate you, boss, man. Just keep posting, because I need some more refreshers. So yeah, no doubt, bro. I got you on the content, brother. I appreciate you, man. Bless you and the fam, man. Happy holidays.
Now it's your time to hit the thumbs up if this video helped you. I love engaging with you in the comment section below. Lastly, please share this video with someone else that can benefit from this topic. Thanks for subscribing. Look out for the notification for my next video, and I'll see you there.